Ladies and gentlemen, gather around, because today we're diving into the life of a woman who captured hearts in the 90s, transformed her career in the 2000s, and continues to inspire artists and dreamers today. Her name? Amy Jo Johnson. You probably first saw her flipping through the air, landing in pink spandex and delivering high kicks to alien villains. That's right, Amy Jo Johnson was the original Pink Ranger on Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. But there's so much more to her story than helmet hair and Zords. Amy Jo Johnson, born October 6, 1970, is an American/Canadian singer and actress best known for her roles in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Felicity, The Division, and Flashpoint. Johnson came to prominence in the early 1990s as part of the original Power Rangers cast. After leaving the show, she had several parts in made-for-television movies before landing a leading role in Felicity on the WB, which ran from 1998 to 2002. In the 2000s, she continued her acting career, with main roles in The Division and Flashpoint, as well as recurring and guest roles on several other shows. In addition, she had directed and produced two acclaimed short films, Bent, 2013, and Lines, 2014. In 2017, her first self-produced feature film, The Space Between, is to be released. Johnson is also a singer-songwriter and has released 3 albums to date. Acting career. Johnson moved to New York City at 18 to pursue an acting career. She attended the Lee Strasberg Theater Institute and the American Musical and Dramatic Academy. She later moved to Los Angeles to audition for her first part. Johnson's first role was as Kimberly and Hart, the Pink Ranger, in the 1993 series Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. She acquired the role less than a month after moving to Los Angeles. Her gymnastics background was an advantage in fight scenes. The series achieved unexpected success, and Johnson had a fair share of media exposure. In an appearance on VH1's I Love the 90s, Johnson jokingly stated that having been the Pink Power Ranger was something she would never live down. In later years, Johnson revealed that becoming famous from the show was at times overwhelming and had given her nightmares, but that overall, she learned many things and was grateful to the show and her fans. After she left the series in 1995, Johnson went on to star in Disney Channel's Suzy Q and in the Saved by the Bell, the new class episode Backstage Pass. In 1997, she starred in NBC's adaptation of Lois Duncan's novel Killing Mr. Griffin and played a gymnast with an eating disorder in Perfect Body. Johnson also participated in the film Without Limits. She also reprised her role as Kimberly Hart in Turbo, a Power Rangers movie. In 1998, Johnson was invited to play Julie Emmerich in the WB series Felicity. She held a main role on Felicity for 3 seasons and was a special guest in its 4th and final season. In the early 2000s, Johnson had roles in Interstate 60, Pursuit of Happiness, and Infested, as well as television film Hard Ground. She also had guest starring roles on Spin City and ER. In 2004, she starred as Stacey Reynolds in the 4th season of The Division. In the latter half of the decade, she had recurring roles in Wildfire and What About Brian, and she starred in television films Magma, Volcanic Disaster on Sci-Fi, and Fatal Trust on Lifetime. In addition, Johnson took parts in a few independent films, Veritas, Prince of Truth, and Islander. Beginning in 2008, Johnson became a series regular on Flashpoint as Constable Jules Callahan, a member of the fictional Strategic Response Unit of the Toronto Police Service. She was nominated for a Gemini Award for her performance. The show aired new episodes through 2012. Since 2012, Johnson has had guest roles on a few shows, including a recurring role on USA's Covert Affairs. In addition, she has directed and produced 2 acclaimed short films, Bent, 2013, and Lines, 2014. Amy Jo Johnson Lines short movie on Amy Jo Johnson. YouTube.com. Music career. Johnson is a singer-songwriter and has released 3 albums, The Trans-American Treatment, 2001, Imperfect, 2005, and Never Broken, 2013. She has performed in the Los Angeles area with the Amy Jo Johnson Band. In December 2007, she contributed guest vocals to Koichi and Hush's cover of the Cars track, Since You're Gone, which was released as a single. Some of Johnson's music has been featured on television shows. Johnson's character in Felicity was originally described as a dancer, but with Johnson's input, the producers rewrote the character as a singer and guitarist. As a result, Johnson was able to perform her own song, Puddle of Grace, on the show. In Flashpoint, her songs Dancing in Between and Goodbye were featured. In 2013, she had performed the song God from her movie Bent. In 2014, her song Lines had featured in her movie Lines. In 2017, her song Cracker Jacks is the theme song from the movie The Space Between. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. It was 1993. The world wasn't ready, but Power Rangers were coming. The concept was odd. Spandex suits, robot dinosaurs, Japanese fight footage mixed with American teens. It sounded ridiculous on paper, and yet it worked. Amy landed the role of Kimberly Hart, the Pink Ranger. She was the gymnast, the heart of the team, and the it girl of an entire generation. Suddenly, she was in magazines, lunchboxes, Halloween costumes, you name it. Kimberly wasn't just a Power Ranger. She was cool. She was strong but kind, tough but graceful. For millions of kids, especially young girls, she was their first superhero. But being a Power Ranger wasn't all glamour. The production was intense. Long hours, low pay, real stunts. Amy did much of her own stunt work, thanks to her gymnastics background. She was literally flipping across the screen while acting her heart out. After 3 seasons and a movie, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie in 1995, Amy said goodbye to Kimberly. It was time to grow. Life after Pink. Now, a lot of actors might have gotten stuck in that spandex-shaped box, but not Amy. She started landing roles in more serious projects. She played Julie Emmerich in Felicity, the emotional, guitar-playing best friend with a tragic past. It was a total departure from the high kicks and evil monsters, and it showed everyone she had real acting chops. Then came The Division, Wildfire, and most notably, the Canadian hit series Flashpoint, where she played Jules Callahan, a tactical police sniper. Yes, Kimberly Hart grew up to become a sharpshooter with a headset and a bulletproof vest. Talk about range. But there was another side of Amy's artistry quietly growing during all of this. Singer-songwriter vibes. You see, Amy wasn't just acting, she was also writing music. Deep, emotional, acoustic songs that felt like reading someone's diary in the best way. In the early 2000s, she began releasing albums as an indie singer-songwriter. Her first album, The Trans-American Treatment, came out in 2001, followed by Imperfect, 2005, and Never Broken, 2013. Her voice is soft but powerful. Her lyrics are raw and poetic. And no surprise her fans followed her there too. Amy had successfully morphed again, this time into a heartfelt musician. Director's chair, please. As if acting and music weren't enough, Amy Jo Johnson made another bold leap into filmmaking. She wrote and directed short films like Bent and Lines, both of which earned praise on the indie film circuit. But in 2017, she made her feature film debut with The Space Between, a quirky, emotional comedy about a guy discovering he's not the biological father of his child. The film was funny, heartfelt, and uniquely Amy. She wasn't just telling stories anymore, she was creating them, shaping them from the ground up. Her second feature film, Tammy's Always Dying, 2019, starring Felicity Huffman, tackled mental illness and dysfunctional families with dark humor and raw emotion. It proved, once again, that Amy Jo Johnson was an artist with something to say. Full circle moments. You might think someone who played a pink Power Ranger in the 90s would leave it behind forever. But Amy? She embraced her past while still moving forward. She appears at fan conventions, takes selfies with Ranger fans, and spreads the kind of nostalgia we all secretly crave. In 2023, she even wrote her own Power Rangers comic book for Boom. Studios literally crafting new stories for the character she helped make legendary. Though she didn't appear in the Netflix anniversary special Once and Always, she supported it from the sidelines and celebrated the legacy she helped create. Because for Amy, it was never about the fame, it was about the fans, the journey, and telling the best story she could. More than Pink. So, who is Amy Jo Johnson? She's not just Kimberly Hart, the Pink Ranger. She's not just Julie from Felicity, or Jules from Flashpoint, or a singer-songwriter with 3 albums, or a director of indie films. She's all of that and more. She's an artist who's reinvented herself time and again. She's someone who took her early fame and used it as a launching pad, not a limitation. And through it all, she stayed grounded, humble, and deeply connected to her audience. Amy Jo Johnson isn't just someone you watched growing up, she's someone who grew up and kept growing right alongside you. A peek into Amy Jo Johnson's personal life. Now, behind the stunts, songs, and screenplays, Amy Jo Johnson has lived a personal life that's just as interesting, though far more private. She's always kept a bit of a low profile when it comes to her personal world, which honestly just makes fans love her more. But here's what we do know, and what she's been kind enough to share over the years. Amy was married to Olivier Hiner, a film director and producer from Canada. Together, they had a daughter, Francesca Christine Johnson, born in 2008. Becoming a mom was a big, beautiful turning point in her life. It shifted her focus from being in the spotlight to building a home and creating from a more grounded place. Though Amy and Olivier are no longer together, they've co-parented and maintained a respectful relationship. And Amy has often spoken about how motherhood changed her. She once said that her daughter is her greatest teacher, helping her learn patience, presence, and perspective. In recent years, Amy has lived between Canada and the US, especially after starring in and directing projects in Toronto. Canada really embraced her, kind of like how the rest of us did back in the Power Rangers days. And here's something fans adore. Amy is very active with her fans online. She's heartfelt, quirky, and wonderfully authentic. Whether it's posting a throwback from her Ranger days, playing an acoustic song on Instagram, or sharing behind-the-scenes clips from her indie films, she keeps it real. She also supports mental health awareness, women's empowerment in film, and independent artists. In fact, she's crowdfunded some of her film projects not because she had to, but because she believes in community-powered creativity. So yes, Amy Jo Johnson the star is amazing. But Amy Jo Johnson the person? A mom, an artist, a woman who keeps growing? Even better. Amy Jo Johnson's net worth, though estimates vary widely. Optimistic figure of around $5 million as of 2025, citing her diversified career in acting, directing, and music. That's all in today's video. If you like the video, then don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.